if anybody's in touch with somebody, should invite him to the ribbon cutting then, so.
Oh,
Well,
that would be
no.
nice.
So let it be written, so let it be done.
Which is on August 19th.
Yeah.
I haven't sent out a formal invite.
I was gonna say, I'm not invited.
I haven't gotten it.
No, you're not.
Yeah, you only find out.
You only
if there's
find
whatever
out.
lunch in there.
Is it Christmas time in June? Feels like Christmas.
Christmas in July with this weather, yeah.
What are we celebrating? A great budget?
Right, closing the year,
Closing the year out? Very festive.
being stupidity. Something like that.
Where did that come from? Is that just like in your closet?
Okay, what's? All right, this is, I told Zoe the
You
truth.
didn't think anybody would ask.
It's like-
I actually know my first question.
Why are you asking?
I got where I get all my gas, food and gifts, it's Cumbies, of course,
Yeah, came from.
You gotta love comedies.
yeah.
Wait, that really?
Yeah.
Wow.
But when did you get it?
Oh, like about a month ago, something like that.
Not at Christmas time?
Or Valentine's?
Yeah.
Oh, Valentine. Oh, so you can use that Christmas, Valentine's, 4th of July. Oh, 4th of July.
Put a clown nose on
Less
for the
field
Republican
day.
committee, you know what I'm.
Wow. Very festive.
It is very.
What a great way to start the meeting.
You're so tactful.
No, I mean, it just sort of sets like that joyful tone. I'm just good with that.
Let's see here. So you know exactly what I'm gonna say. I called blah, blah, blah to order. Stacy, what do you?
No, I don't.
Yeah, I'm gonna turn it over to Stacy, it's faster than normal.
Hey.
The scale in this format was all because of you. I know you like to look at the lab. And I never did, so I kind of walked
It was
this off.
thoughtful, it's like, yeah,
Okay,
I love it, it's like,
Okay.
oh, I can see, it's like we requested that, didn't need that,
right,
know.
okay.
took a look, that's great. Alrighty, perfect, let's go do it. It's the First time I've been on time for a 5:30 meeting in Ohio.
Just say, what's going on today?
Everyone's happy, the school year's over.
Traffic.
True.
Yeah.
Traffic.
Thank you, Stacy, for all your work this year. Yeah, we've come to expect it.
What?
I've come to expect this. Take it for
Scary.
granted. Take it for granted.
Gail and Eva.
All right, hello, everybody. I'd like to call this Finance Committee meeting of the Madison Board of Education to order. It is 5:30. And feels great after a very successful commencement. And as we wind up the year, the school finances, we want to take a look at closing out the year to date, reviewing end of year balances, and there's some really good information here, and with that, I'll turn it over to Dr. Cook and Stacy to go through some line item transfers and things that we have.
Yes, thank you, Galen. Very busy time of the year for the finance department. Been working closely with Stacy, and this document was finalized just this morning. So we thank the board members for reviewing that tonight. I'm going to pass it over to Stacy to walk us through it, because as you can imagine, this time of year a lot is happening, and accounts, and we are still waiting for some money to come in from the state, but even some recent good news and special ed is helping us out quite a bit here, so I will turn over to Stacy to walk us through.
Okay. So I'm just gonna kind of, as Craig said, walk you through the different columns on the sheet that everyone hopefully has. So the first column is what you received on May 20th. So this was our last meeting, so I wanted to walk us after that. So that's where we're starting. The line item transfer that was approved by the Board of Ed on June 3rd. That is now coming out of those balances, but just to note that there were a couple other things that were not known at the time of May 20th that we did add, so you can see if it's not in column 1 and it is in column 2, that we opted to move that along to the full board just because we didn't know about it at the May 20th Finance Committee. So there's a few items there. And then, of course, it was May 20th, now it's June 17th, and there's been changes. Always, it's like honestly chasing a bouncing ball, but there's been some great good news. So you can see at the third column in, you can see that we had an increase in our projected HR, in our FICA Medi, in our legal, transportation. So we had an extra $147,000. So we started with 442 from last time. We did line transfers of 292. And then we had an addition to the balances of 147. With that, keeping that in mind, we also had additional requests below that number. So you can see the special ed, we actually are looking to do a line transfer for this negative amount. This amount, the 111,000, is net of the 148,000 we're supposed to get very, very soon. And this was a result of our expenditures actually decreasing, which was a good thing from our March reporting, but it also, because our expenditures decreased, so did our state reimbursement. So overall, even after the 148, because of those changes, we are looking to line transfer into special ed $111,000, and that should bring us good through the the last day of school. And actually it also includes the end of, or the school, but there's a few days after the end of school. ESY.
Yes.
Yes. So we're projecting through then, and this is what we know right now. The other items going down in that third column, you can see that the only item that we did not address that was in the first column or your last meeting was baseball field. So we opted at this point in time, to put a hold on that. And then hopefully we are gonna revisit and see what actual numbers are and if we can actually assist with the project. I don't know if you wanna say.
Yeah, I can talk about that after, maybe I'll,
Okay.
but definitely if we can come back to that, I think it'd be
Okay.
to review.
So also in column 3 are a couple additions, which you will see in column 4. So column 4, the top amount is our revised total available funds. So that 298,000, that's what we're looking at as of right now, as available funds. And then, like I said, special ed now popped up, and we do have 1, 2, 3, 4 other requests to use some of those funds. The 10,837 was an increase in the cost for the cafe soundproof wall panels at the high school. There was there's some fans at the high school that we needed for air quality, as well as some brown office furniture and some brown whiteboards that we were looking for you all to approve tonight. So based on that, the next column is the line item transfer that we're asking for you to approve tonight to move forward. We're showing where we're taking the money up at the top, and then for these 5 items where it's going. After all that is done, as of today, we have $149,000 balance, which is 0.2%, so not even a half a penny, it's 0.2 of a penny.
Kirk would say.
Of our total, yes,
Yeah, right.
of our total budget. So I don't know if anybody has any questions, fire away.
You still think that there's gonna be little adjustments in the next couple weeks or?
I don't know, I mean, right now, I mean, school's done, hopefully people we projected utilities through the end. Of the month, so right now, this is my best estimate, 149, could it go up, could it go down sometimes in July? There could be some invoices that rolled in that we didn't know about, so that could hit that number, but as of right now, that's the number that I'm.
So it's projected based on knowing what's out there for the most part.
Yeah,
So,
anything I know. It's in there.
so we're solidly in the black for the end of the year. And just as a practical matter, let's just say that the state did not come through with the check for what, 148 in time, we're still kind of in the black. Would that make any practical difference if they did not cut the check before the end of the fiscal year?
They have no carry.
No, it would still be able to.
So it still apply, right?
And then
Yes.
with 2% carryover, we would be able to
Right,
address that, after July 1.
okay,
Yeah, so we basically booked a receivable, so
Yeah, right.
even if we get the money in August,
right.
it will still be reflected in the fiscal year and June 30th, 25.
That's good. So we can determine as a board and recommend through, your recommendation then to this committee and then to the board, I guess. Would be recommendation for what to carry over and how.
Yeah.
Right.
After July 1.
Yeah, for today, it would be to authorize these line transfers. Yeah, and right,
And then anything else that might happen before June 30th.
right.
For the finance chair.
Yes, and then afterwards, there may be changes into July and beginning of August, to be honest, before we even talk about the 2%. Under what we want to do with any balance.
Yeah, right. So.
Yeah, that looks great. I mean, I know there's like an endless list of things you would want to spend on. You do a really good job of prioritizing what we need to spend.
Of note this year, and I think you'll hear about it, I know Emily's aware of a lot of it as well. Well, you all are, but specifically facilities. With all the work happening this summer, when Stacy and I talked to Peter about projects, like what was his list, was there any potential? We know we have work still to do at Brown, with windows, we have other projects as well. He was clear facilities could not take on anything additional this summer. In fact, I think they're kind of past their cap of what they could do. So you don't really see any major facilities projects in here because they're already doing so many things this summer. That's full on with Ben and Peter managing those projects. So a lot of exciting stuff, but it was a scenario where we could say we had 400,000 that we could have said, let's do the Brown windows. I think that just wasn't possible this summer. So I wanted to share just kind of the update on the softball and baseball field as we talk about where we stand. So the board knows both those bids came in very high. The project was bid with baseball as the primary and the softball returfing as the ad alternate. So as I said, both came in significantly higher. The town is managing, or is in charge of, not we manage, Peter and Ben manage both, but the town is in charge of the softball field and basically the ownership of the softball fields with the town. The baseball field is ours. And so Peggy and the Board of Selectmen, as I shared with you on a Friday update, have approved $228,000 for the softball field from our general fund to have the funding available for that. So that was the price that was put out by bidders for that. We do have to rebid that project, so that's in the process of happening because it was an ad alternate, so we couldn't hold the two, one of the two companies to that bid, but we feel we have enough money to do that. So the good news is that softball will move forward. That should happen in the fall, if not sooner if possible. So And that's you know, not a huge project because there's already a turf field. So baseball would also be rebid at some point. We're not sure if the fall will be the right time frame or later winter. You know, so that would be rebid. We were significantly under for that project. I believe the outcome was 1.4.
Shortage.
Yeah, 1.4 shortage for the project. And as I shared, there was no room for other projects, so my request, my recommendation would be that any of the year-end funds, whether it's, you know, the 150 or whether the 150, you know, becomes more, that gets put towards the baseball field. And I think that's, you know, our good faith effort to get that project done. It's a project that is shovel ready, you know, that they can move forward on whenever that gets approved. I think we've signaled to the public that that's something we prioritize that we want to get done. And it's a significant area of need. I think that also goes in line with the town's support for softball, you know, because that's benefits our students as well. It's just the way that those, you know, those fields are used currently. The softball field gets a ton of use by the town and our students. And so that's why it's on that side. We've worked closely with Austin Hall, who's been tremendous to work with on this, and they're very supportive. And we're excited. It goes forward the 18th for Board of Finance vote.
It is actually the 25th. Now they changed to next Wednesday.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, 18th will be tomorrow, right? Yeah, so
It was supposed to be tomorrow.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So it will go forward next Wednesday. Hopefully the Board of Finance will approve that. Board of Selectmen unanimously approved it, so does look good for that to happen. So you know, that's my recommendation. That would be ultimately a fall conversation with the board. We know the final number, be able to share that with you. We should have some additional information, you know, at that time on the bid potentially, or where that stands too. But I don't think that will get us there, you know. I think we'll still need to find some other funding for that.
So. So that's all good. Just a nitpicky point. Do we need an agenda item to recommend these line prints?
It's in the-
It will be in the next,
Next one.
it will be in the next Board of Ed in the July,
We have a-
right?
We
We
don't
have
have a
July in the August.
August, okay, all right. I don't wanna skip you your.
Yeah, yeah, we didn't, honestly, as Dr. Cook said, it's hot off the press, so it's kind of like,
Okay,
it was this morning, unless you wanna open up the agenda, we can do it in August.
okay,
There is an action that item on the
To
agenda
close out.
tonight to
Right.
have you
right,
represent the board in closing out
Right.
the states.
right, okay, all right. All right, well, I guess that would cover the first item, the year-end balances, and brings us to the second item on the agenda, which, I guess we'll need a, we're gonna need a motion for it, because it's on the agenda, so. It's just procedural.
Yeah, but does this committee have to vote first, I think, to?
I think you recommended it before. I don't know.
Okay.
Well, per se.
Yeah, good.
Okay. Well, we have a recommendation to the board.
Sure, I recommend that we do that.
All right, a second, thank you. All in favor? Aye.
Great.
All right, well, as always, jam-packed with information, short and sweet, I hope. Is there anything else that we should cover?
No, just a big thank you to Stacy and her staff. This is
As always.
crazy time, you know, she's closing out our books, town books. That's a big state report that's due, you know, at the end of August for the, sorry.
That-
But but that's, you know, just a very big project that has to be done every August, and I'm, you know, always thrilled and don't hear anything back or concerns from the state. I don't get flagged for anything, so it's great to have Stacy's skill set in handling that, so thank you for all your staff. Yeah, I mean, most people in charge of finance get that little breather after, you know, but when you have to handle the town as well, you don't really get that breather. So thank you. Yeah, thank you.
And I thanked you before the camera was rolling, but I want to thank you
Thank
publicly
you.
with the camera rolling for amazing work you and your team always do, so.
I have a
thank you.
great team. Very lucky.
Okay, well, are there any public questions? Yeah, mine, all right. With that, I move that we adjourn the meeting at 5:45, thank you.
So.
Second,